Compact smartphones are a rare breed these days as companies generally tend to focus on larger displays on their phones. However, I still think there is a small market for such phones. Otherwise, phones such as the iPhone 12 mini or even 13 mini wouldn't really exist. Now, this got me thinking, what is the best compact smartphone in the Indian market today? Now, the Google Pixel 4a is definitely one such phone that immediately comes to mind. But if we were to look at just flagship smartphones, we really only have two contenders, the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 3 and the iPhone 13 mini. I am Royd and you're watching Gadgets 360, and after a week of using both these phones, it's time to see which one has managed to win my vote. Now, before we begin, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and also the bell icon so you're the first to know whenever we have a new video. The iPhone 13 mini and the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 3 are both pretty expensive smartphones. However, if we were to compare the pricing of the corresponding variants, the iPhone 13 mini tends to offer better value. The iPhone 13 mini also has a 512GB variant, which is nice considering neither of these phones have expandable storage. Now, in terms of color options too, the iPhone 13 mini offers more variety compared to the Galaxy Z Flip 3 in India. Now, this was an easy win for the iPhone. Now, the main reason you'll be looking at buying a compact flagship is so that it's small and easy to carry around wherever you go. And in this regard, I think both of these phones do a great job. You'll have no trouble keeping either the iPhone 13 mini or the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 3 in a shirt or trouser pocket. Both are very comfortable to hold, and both of them are built with premium materials such as glass and aluminium. The iPhone 13 mini is fairly slim, measuring just 7.65mm in thickness, and is incredibly light as well at just 140 grams. The Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 3 is one of the most compact phones in the market today, and while it is shorter than the iPhone 13 mini by a good margin, it is twice as chunky when it's folded and noticeably heavier too at around 183 grams. Now, its shape does take some getting used to, but overall I think it's just as portable as the iPhone 13 mini, if not more so in some ways. The Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 3 pulls an easy win here thanks to its large 6.7-inch folding AMOLED display. Another ace up its sleeve is the 120Hz refresh rate, which adds a sense of fluidity to the scrolling and animations. Now, the iPhone 13 mini's 5.4-inch display doesn't fold, and neither does it have any high refresh rate, but it's still by no means a bad display. The size definitely takes some getting used to, especially if you're coming from a big screen phone, but the specs are still solid. It has a satisfyingly high brightness of 800 nits, supports HDR playback, and has great color accuracy, plus Apple's True Tone feature for automatic white balance adjustment based on the ambient light around you. The iPhone 13 mini and the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 3 both feature current-gen flagship SoCs. The former uses Apple's own A15 Bionic, while the latter uses Qualcomm Snapdragon 888. Both phones support 5G, fast wireless connectivity standards, stereo speakers, wireless charging, dual SIM support, and biometric authentication for security. The iPhone 13 mini has an IP68 rating for dust and water resistance, whereas the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 3 is only IPX8 rated for water resistance. Now, the iPhone 13 mini only has face recognition, while the Z Flip 3 gets that plus a fingerprint sensor in the power button. The Z Flip 3 also has the ability to wirelessly charge other Qi-compatible devices like earphones and other smartphones, but you can't do this on the iPhone. Now, so far we've seen that the iPhone 13 mini and the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 3 are pretty solid flagships, whether it's their build quality or their specifications. However, now it's time to face the biggest test yet in terms of usability. How easy or difficult is it to live with either of these phones day in and day out? Well, I've spent a week with both of them, and these are my thoughts. I personally found the iPhone 13 mini a lot less stressful to live with, mainly because all of my content was readily accessible the moment I took it out of my pocket, thanks to its standard candy bar form factor. Now, it might look dainty, but the internal components and the display are all very well protected against the elements. The high brightness of the iPhone 13 mini's display also made content very legible even under direct sunlight. What I really enjoyed the most though is that I could easily interact with anything on the screen with just one hand. Now, the flip side to having such a compact phone is, of course, not all interactions are easy to perform. The keyboard feels very cramped for two-thumb typing, and that'll be a bigger challenge if you have large fingers. The video watching experience isn't as good as it is on the Z Flip 3 either, purely because of the smaller screen size and the large notch. Finally, unlocking the iPhone 13 mini can be quite a pain if you have a face mask on, as Face ID simply doesn't work. Well, unless of course you have an Apple Watch paired with it as well. Moving on to the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 3, the larger display makes watching video an infinitely better experience than on the iPhone 13 mini. Samsung also offers a neat little software trick that it calls Flex Mode to take advantage of the folding display in several apps. Typing is also much easier, although still not as comfortable as using a phone with a conventional aspect ratio. Finally, I like that the phone has face recognition as well as a fingerprint sensor, which makes unlocking it much easier when you're wearing a mask. Now, as cool as the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 3 is to use, some of its novelty features can quickly become annoying, as I found out, and one of the biggest ones is the display itself. While it's a great conversation starter, folding and unfolding the display becomes a chore pretty quickly, as you have to open it to perform any kind of meaningful interaction, whether it is answering a phone call privately to sending a simple reply to a message. This wouldn't have been so bad if you could flip it open with one hand or even use the outer display for menial tasks, but you can't do either. Even though the outer display is larger and more responsive than the one on the first gen Z Flip, it still lacks crucial functionality. The iPhone 13 mini and the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 3 deliver super performance as you'd expect from any flagship phone. With the iPhone, games ran pretty well, and even when playing taxing 3D games, heat was distributed very well along the metal body, so there weren't any uncomfortable hot spots when holding it. Now, considering its size, the speakers on the iPhone 13 mini sounded superb with great detail and clarity. The Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 3 also handled One UI like a champ. On games such as Asphalt 9 Legends, the 120Hz display really made gameplay feel smoother than on the iPhone 13 mini. Now, continuous gaming does make the Galaxy Z Flip 3 run quite hot, and unfortunately that heat is contained within just the top half of the phone, which tends to get a little uncomfortable to hold after a while. The iPhone 13 mini and the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 3 both have wide and ultra-wide cameras on the back and a single selfie camera. Now, after shooting stills and video side by side with both the phones, I put my money on the iPhone's cameras simply because I felt it captured better details and more natural colors in stills and had better stabilization for videos. The ultra-wide cameras on both the phones were relatively weak, especially in low light. For selfies, I found that the iPhone 13 mini captured more natural-looking skin tones and better details compared to the Z Flip 3. Now, don't get me wrong, the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 3 can capture some pretty stunning looking photos, and these do look great on the phone's display. However, they also tend to have a bit of an over-processed look with slightly boosted colors generally. Now, if you're into that style of photos, then you might prefer the output from the Z Flip 3 over the iPhone 13 mini. Apple and Samsung make similar claims for how long each phone should last on a single charge. But in reality, the iPhone 13 mini easily outlasted the Z Flip 3, at least in my testing. With similar apps loaded on both phones and an active 4G SIM in them, I began with an hour of streaming video, followed by half an hour of gaming, which included a bit of Asphalt 9 Legends and PUBG New State. This was followed by some camera testing and another hour of watching videos. I did take some breaks in between to allow the phones to cool down a bit after some activities like gaming, but background processes such as Slack and Gmail were running throughout. Now, after roughly 19 hours, out of which 3.5 hours was the screen on time on both these phones, the Z Flip 3's battery was down to 22%, while the 13 minis was still at a solid 45%. Now, both phones are capable of fast wired and wireless charging. The iPhone 13 mini supports up to 15-watt wired charging and up to 12-watt wireless charging if you use an approved MagSafe charger. The Z Flip 3 also supports 15-watt wired charging and up to 10 watts wireless charging. Now, if you've been following this video and haven't skipped directly to the verdict, then you might have guessed which one of these phones I've been leaning towards. Now, if I had to pick one as my daily driver, I'd definitely go with the iPhone 13 mini. Some of the things I really love about it is its tiny yet rugged design, the excellent performance, great cameras, and very good battery life for a phone this size. Plus, the fact that it's a little more affordable than the Z Flip 3 is a nice bonus. Now, with the iPhone, you can be assured of timely software updates too, which should keep things fresh for years to come. Now, the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 3 is a very strong contender too, and it's an excellent compact flagship in its own right. There are some things that I absolutely love, like its quirky form factor and its vivid display. Plus, the novelty of holding it is hard to match, especially when you see people's reactions. However, for me, this is a bit of a double-edged sword since opening and closing this phone does become a chore pretty quickly. Now, it wouldn't have been so bad if you could do this with one hand, but the fact that it is a two-handed affair is the exact opposite of what I'm looking for in a small phone. Now, the other kicker is also the battery life, which unfortunately is pretty weak even for my moderate usage. So to sum up, the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 3 definitely offers the best flaunt value, but as a daily driver, I think you're better suited with the iPhone 13 mini. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Which one of these phones would you pick, or do you think there is a better compact flagship smartphone available in the market? Let me know in the comments below. That's it from me. Thanks for watching, and for all things tech, log on to gadgets360.com.